morning, everybody. Happy New Year as well. My name is Jorge Fernandez, Director of Innovation, and I'm here with Magda Krakowiak, Innovation Manager. We are both running the Wildcard program, which we call it the Venture Builder of EIT Health. And we have set up this this webinar to introduce you to the things that what is the Wildcard program looking for, and to give you some room to ask questions to a previous participant and also to answer your questions. Okay, so hopefully we'll run through this through 30-35 minutes, and then we'll get to the next items on the list. So if that's okay with you, if you have any questions, please share them in the chat, so we can keep track of them. I will not answer them as I'm presenting, but we will answer them at the end. Okay, but that's a good way to keep track of them. So let's start with the wildcard. What it is that we're looking for, and what it is that the wildcard is about. Oops, sorry. Oh my God. Okay, here it is. Sorry. So this is the Wildcard program, and with the agenda that we have prepared for today is a little bit about EIT Health and who are we. Most of you might know us, but maybe some of you are not aware. Second is, what is the Wildcard program? It's as I said, is the program we're running in EIT Health, acting as the venture builder for EIT Health. Third piece will be, what are we looking for? That's very important to understand whether this is for you, right? Point number 4 will be some tips for the applicants. That's important to get, and I will ask my colleague Magda to introduce you to these things, and then we'll get some room at the end for Q&A. Okay, so let's start with the agenda. EIT Health, who are we? We are a network of best-in-class health innovators backed by the European Union. This is very important to know, that EIT is a partnership. We have, I always like to say that we have the 150 companies, institutions that are relevant in healthcare and life sciences in Europe. We don't have 100%, but I think we can seriously say that we have 95% of them in our partnership. Our idea is that we are trying to collaborate across borders, mainly to raise the profile of the European Union in competition with North America and Asia, and we do so with the idea or the mandate to deliver new solutions in healthcare to enable our citizens to live longer and healthier lives. That's a very simple mandate we have on top. So this is usually the last line, right? So we have 7 locations across Europe. We cover 7 regions across Europe. We cover, I think it is 11 countries altogether, plus InnoStars, which is another set of 6. So it's a lot of people that we cover in our programs. Our programs, we have 3 pillars: education, business creation, and innovation. Our goals here is to develop and support anything related to healthcare innovation in these 3 domains: education, business creation, and innovation. And as I said before, we have more than 150 leading organizations as part of the partnership. What is the Wildcard, and why is EIT Health running a program like the Wildcard? Well, the Wildcard is, as I said before, the venture builder of EIT Health. It's an innovation program that is challenge-based. That's a little bit different from other venture builders. So here, every year, we put up 2 challenges in things that really are desperately looking for innovation in the healthcare domain. And as an innovation program, it encompasses elements of team formation. So we help create teams. In terms of innovation, we get connection to other partners across the consortium. And here we talk about mainly industrial partners, academic partners, providing support to reach your solutions to the market. Also, elements of education, you get some training along the way as part of the methodology, and as a result of that, business creations happen at the very end, right? As important as it is to know what is the wildcard, it is very important also to know what is not the wildcard. So it's not a research grant. So if you're a researcher looking for another research grant, this is not for you, right? So here we are trying to look for people who want to start companies but have not started one yet. Second point, it's not a funding instrument, so it's not a call for proposals. We're not calling for proposals in these areas, that in these challenges that I will briefly cover in a second. And it is neither an acceleration program for existing startups. As I said before, this is for individuals or teams of individuals who have ideas, solutions, but they still have not formed their startup, right? The concept of the wildcard, we like to play a little game with you, a little word game. We've used the letters of our name, right? So basically, we start with a challenge, right? So we identify every year two areas, where we think that we need to innovate to create major breakthroughs there, and we put those two things as challenges to the community. With that, we hope to attract talent and teams who have either the right side of skills and or the right side of technologies and solutions that can address and can implement those major breakthroughs. Then we offer support to those ideas by engaging people, mentors, experts to help you refine your ideas. And mainly here, the most important piece is validating your set of hypotheses, the things that need to be true for your idea to create the impact that you're expecting to have. And then the last piece is the deployment. As a result of all these, every year we select 2 teams and we provide them with 2 million euros non-dilutive funding, so equity-free, 1 million per year for 24 months. And we also provide this, but also, and this is something very important, we provide access to our EIT Health network. And as I said before, this is one of our incredible assets that we put at your disposal as a result of that, right? And it is wild just because, the idea that, we're trying to pursue is that we create some disruption, we create a leap, in the sense that, things are radically different from before. We are not looking for 10% improvement on things, we're looking for 10x improvement of things, right? So if your idea is wild, if you think that, this is the chance to transform healthcare delivery or healthcare systems, this is your program, right? I'd like to introduce you to the winners of last year, so you can see that this program is a reality. These are 4 people on the left, plus our CEO, and 3 people on the right, plus our CEO as well. So on the right, we have Team DX Lab Track. There are 4 German people. They located their company in Munich. They were part of the Smart Health Challenge last year. That was around artificial intelligence applied to medical diagnostics, and their venture, was around how to create safer blood samples as a result of the transportation that happens between the time that you take the sample and the time that the sample is analyzed, right? So very interesting approach, and they've been pitching in very different environments, the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, World Health Organization Summit. They're not in the Roche Diagnostics Plug and Play Accelerator, so they've done a long track since they were announced as winners in July 2018. So it's just a few months ago, right? And then, the beauty of this team is 2 of these guys, they knew each other before. So that's Hans and Timo, those on the extreme. And then the other 2, one they met through the tournament, through the hackathon the 1-week program that we placed in the middle of the program. And then the other was an old colleague of those, right? So these are the company. And the other company is called AppTrace. They were the winners of the Fight Back Challenge. that challenge was trying to target antimicrobial resistance. It's a big program. It's a big problem that very few people are fully aware what's coming, but it's really going to be important if ends up happening, right? So, and these guys, they're delivering an algorithm, so they're working around AI applied to medical diagnostics to understand the decisions made by physicians on antibiotics and offer them better approaches, right? So these are the two teams. We'll have Umar from Uptrace talking to you later, answering to your questions. So what are we looking for, or maybe the right thing would be, who are we looking for, right? So these are the two challenge areas for 2019. We announced them in late December in our EIT Health Summit in Buch. So one is around mental and brain health. So in as much the mental disorders as the let's say the brain health, let's say the prevention as well as the disorders, right? And the idea here is that how can we improve prediction, diagnosis, and treatment around health, around mental and brain health. This is very important. It's one of the things that everybody knows that is the last mile, the last challenge. We know very little about our brains, and we know that that's really important. And some of our main diseases diminishing in terms of quality of life, coming from there. And then the second challenge, it's around digital biomarkers. Those digital biomarkers applied to the improvement of early diagnostics. This is important, and we can understand digital biomarkers in two ways. The first is this stream of data coming to a set of devices, new devices. Some of them are consumers, some of them are medical devices, but this is new data that is available and before was not available, right? The typical example could be temperature. Temperature is something that has been measured by people, since the very early days in medicine, let's say. But there is very few people that I know that they keep track of their, let's say, temperature. Let's say. So that could be the type of data that is available now due to the new devices that are on the consumer and medical. And then also, new, let's say, possibilities that open up as a result of new measurements being able to be taken, right? So now with cameras, we are able to track eyes in a way that can serve as precursors of disease. So that's really interesting. For example, it happens for Alzheimer. Eye movement is a precursor for that to happen. So these are the two challenges areas for 2019. On one side, mental and brain health, and on the other, digital biomarkers. So choose, whichever is the one that you are more attracted to. Who should apply? As I said before, the wildcard is not for existing startups. This is not a program for existing startups with their technologies. We at EIT Health, we have other vehicles, other instruments for that. If you're a startup, interested in any of these two topics, we are more than happy to point you to our business creation pillar. They will be able to help you with that. Wildcard is for individuals and for small teams. We are looking for profiles in three areas: clinical, technical, and business. It can be very easy that you are a clinical person with an idea for a solution, or a technical person with an idea for a solution on the two challenges, or in one of the two challenges. But it can also be that you're a business person with no solution, but with a lot of expertise in those two domains, right? And that's also very valuable, because, as I said before, teams do not come to us fully formed, and we support team formation along the process. What does wildcard offer? That's very important. It's a unique program in the sense that it's just not money and support, but it's also it's a truly collaborative. It's learning and it's business attached to that. So there are learning opportunities along the way. The process that you will learn from top people will stay with you forever. You will able to apply that to other ventures. This is really important. Second, we will make you part of our community of people that have a different thrive and a different ambition that others. You will find people that you will share your passion with. That's very difficult to find, similar people to you if you're an innovative type. As I said, we will provide access to the EIT Health Network. We have more than 120 partners, and those partners are the most relevant institutions in their fields, right? I would say that we have everybody that is important in pharma, everybody that is relevant in medtech, almost everybody that is relevant in research, very similar to hospitals and institutions. So it's really an impressive network. We offer 2 years of support, and by support we don't only mean money or funds, we also mean connections, access to the network, and other things. And also 2 million, 1 million per year of non-dilutive funding. So that means that we don't take any equity in the companies being formed out of the program. So let's say 100% of the equity belongs to you, to the founders. 100% of the IP that you will develop will belong to you. This is the timeline that's very important for the next months. The application process is already open. We have so 3 stages here. Stage 1 is the online application. You will need to submit that by 10th of February, and after that you will get interviewed by our people to identify whether you're the right profile or not. After that, we will select a set of the applicants, and we will invite them to Central European City to be with us for a week in a hackathon, right? There are 2 things here. Before we meet physically in one location, we will be interacting digitally on one end. Make sure that these people, usually we're talking about 30 to 40 people that we select to join us for the second stage. We make sure that these people get to know each other, but also that their understanding of the challenges around these 2 challenges or 2 conditions, that they are very well shared across the 30, 40 participants. And then as a result of that week, you will pitch on Friday, and then as a conclusion of that, a set of teams will be selected to enter the 3rd stage, the business model validation. This is an online week program that has 2 face-to-face meetings. The first, the kickoff meeting, where we train you on something, and then the grand finals are also face-to-face, where we make you pitch in front of the board to make the final selection of which 2 teams will incorporate into new ventures, right? As part of this part-time online program, you will need to dedicate between 5 and 8 hours per week to work on the validation of your business models. You can ask Umar later, but the experience from previous years is that the hackathon and the training course is of high value to the participants, right? And then as a result of that, as I said, mid-July we announced the winners. Then we spent August and September preparing all the paperwork for the incorporation of the companies, and then we have 2 years down the line to achieve the objectives, right? What to expect in the hackathon? Basically, you will get to know people from lots of places. First in the online platform, and then let's say physically. And then here, I think Magda, I'll let you take over to explain the details for the tips.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Jorge. So basically, from my side, some practical tips for people who want to apply and who will participate in the program later on. So basically, a very important thing is to put aside this 1 week. You already know the date for the hackathon, between the 31st of March and 6th of April. To put aside this week and do not plan any major or important events in this time, because sadly last year we had participants who were qualified and received an invitation to the hackathon, but for various reasons, personal or other professional obligations, they couldn't attend the hackathon. Whether they did not expect the invitation, I don't know, but it was really a pity that they went through the effort of submitting an application, online interview, and in the end they couldn't come. This as the timeline for the wildcard program is overall very rapid. Please, you're going to have around 2 weeks to book your travel for the hackathon. So don't wait until last minute, but just book your travel as soon as you receive invitation and confirm your participation in the hackathon. And what to expect is basically long hours. I promise that it will be worth it. But basically, it's not a 9 to 5. But there were days where we used to work until 7 or 8 p.m. It's 5 days, very intensive time. But I think that Umar will be later able to share with you his experience. That it's all really really worth it. Can you please? Oh yes, thank you so much. For the business model validation program, as Jorge says, this is 5 to 8 hours weekly, 10 weekly webinars, where 1 hour is basically spent on teams presenting whatever aspect of their business they have been working on that week, and receiving feedback. And this is complemented by 1 hour lecture every week. But we say 5 to 8 hours because additional hour has to be dedicated to consultations with your lead mentor already in the process of this business model validation program, as well as customer discovery process where teams are basically going out to the world and they are performing interviews with the potential clients. You will receive basically a lot of feedback. There are going to be a lot of pivots, but it is really amazing to see how teams and how ideas, projects are progressing and how they are developing. It's been a very, very rich experience. Okay, so just a reminder of the timeline again. So the grand finals are in July. Dates already are set, 16th and 17th of July in Munich. 1 day will be spent on last rehearsals and feedback sessions with the mentors. And then the following day is the grand finals, when teams are presenting their final proposal in front of EIT Health panel and basically receive information about whether they have been funded or not. Okay, and the tips for applicants, as Jorge said, the application portal is already open. And you may find what I will say a little bit simple, but it's never, from my experience, we receive a lot of questions from applicants just because they have not went through in details for the document. A lot of information is available already at the website in the FAQ section, but also in the call for applications and in the term sheet. When you are applying, when you submit your proposal, you basically click the box that you recognize that you agree with the terms and conditions of the program. So please dedicate 10 minutes to go through this important document as well. If you will open the application form, you will see that there are basically 2 tracks. One track is a track for the teams, where there is a place to describe 3 team members of 3 different profiles. It doesn't mean that, for example, if you are a clinician, you cannot take a business lead role. You can, but you have to justify it, why this is your choice and why you are a good fit for this role. If your team is lacking any profile, for example, the technical profile, please try to explain what this person should be or what kind of expertise you are looking for. We have this limitation of 3 persons per team, because we think that having a team of 5 people coming in, it will be very, very difficult to supplement the team or to enrich it throughout the program. So there's a limit of 3 people per team. And regarding the individual application, so basically you can apply as an individual with a solution or without the solution, just offering your skills. And for example, Malte, whom you could see from the Slaptrack team, he submitted last year an individual application without a solution. Yeah, and he has been selected, and he met a team during the hackathon, and the team he joined, and now they have a company together. So if you are applying with a proposed idea, provide as much information as possible on the unmet need that you have discovered and that you are trying to address with your solution. Describe the resources you have at hand, and the potential impact, how you see that the solution will impact lives of citizens, how it will improve the healthcare delivery process. Okay, so the hint is basically, if you think of applying, don't wait until last minute, start today. We've received last year really enormous number of applications that were submitted, that were opened and submitted the same day, on the day of the deadline. However, when you are in rush, the quality is never as good as it could be if you would dedicate a little bit more time to the application itself. So increase your chances, and basically ask your colleague, friend, or a mentor to review your application before submitting it. So it will allow you to receive some feedback and iterate where possible. What's important that you don't need to have all the answers now. As Jorge described, the whole program is basically aimed at improving ideas and improving projects. So just put but nevertheless put a thought into what it could be. Yes, you are applying for a program. It's not a grant proposal that can be in a 0-1 format, can be just decided for funding or not. Okay, as part of the application process, you are asked to record a video pitch of up to 3 minutes. As a team, this is 1 video. As for the individual, it's 1 video as well. In the application form, you will find guidelines, basically what items should be covered by the video pitch. But I highly encourage you to get creative. Last year, we've received some amazing video pitches that really stood out, and you could see that an applicant is really motivated and dedicated and to put a thought into creating his video pitch. And the second, let's say, video interaction will be the online interview. You will be contacted after submitting and qualifying for this stage. You will be contacted by our expert evaluators who will schedule an online interview with you. And when you do so, please make sure that you are in a quiet place, that you can speak freely. Try to prepare. It's like it's not a job interview, but I think that you can anticipate some questions. Important note here is that despite the fact that all the applicants will be interviewed by, let's say, different by many evaluators, they will be all asked the same set of questions. We have guidelines for our evaluators, So there is a set of questions that they will be asking, and so it equals the playing field, let's say, for all the candidates, and it gives us also opportunity to be objective in let's say, creating a final ranking of applicants. Yeah, why I'm mentioning basically choosing a quiet place is that last year we had situations where, for example, a candidate was taking a call while he was driving a car, or where there were problems with connections, and it really has an impact on how the evaluator is perceiving you, and how he can evaluate you in the end, and in final it impacts the ranking place for you to be qualified for the program or not. So it's really worth to put a thought into this. Okay, and now I think we are ready to hear from Umar. Thank you so much for listening to the presentation. Umar, are you here?
Hi, Magda. Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Hi. Yes, all is good. The floor is yours.
Okay, great. Welcome, everyone. I was sort of in your position about a year from now, from a year ago. So my background is I'm a doctor. I qualified about 8 years ago, and really all my training has been in medicine. I've not been trained in business or anything specifically technical or IT. I did have an interest and did lots of other things in the way that I practice medicine, but that's essentially who I am. And I heard about the wildcard competition, and to be honest, I hadn't heard much about all the other EIT Health programs, and perhaps some of you guys will have heard, but I didn't realize how big an organization it was and how many different programs that it had done before. So anyway, the wildcard sounded crazy, this idea that there would be this much funding for a new project for a company that wouldn't even be incorporated. So it sounded exciting. It sounded like a great opportunity. And that was really it. That was the beginning to just see, oh, well, this is curious, because that's not normally how things work. So I had a look, and I think the way this program is structured, to me, the attraction was that each stage gives you something back, and it costs you a bit of time. So let's say the stage that you're at now, you're deciding whether or not you should apply, and it'll take you a few hours of filling in these forms maximum. I was one of those people who applied at the last minute, and Magda's right, you shouldn't apply at the last minute. But anyway, so at the moment that's what it's going to cost you, and you get to go to this if you get through this 1 week of this hackathon program. And last year we didn't have this initial phase, but I can tell you about this 1 week, and it's really exciting. It's really interesting. And to be honest, I didn't think that what I was proposing would necessarily get through, because I had no idea what the other candidates would bring. So I had this sense of, well, I don't know, maybe I won't even get an application. Maybe I will. I don't really know where I stand amongst everybody else. But the idea that you would, get taken to somewhere, have this week of intense training and testing and evaluation was quite fun. And I thought, well, it'll be interesting to just see where I stand and challenge myself and be challenged and learn what other people are doing. So I think that was really all I was hoping for to begin with. Well, let's just get something out of it, which was that week. I didn't really think beyond that, and it wasn't entirely clear to me where we would go from there. So we went to this program, and it was really fun, because you have this week, and I don't know, things may be different, but essentially you get evaluated. You have lots of tasks where people challenge you in unusual ways and in a way that you couldn't really prepare for, and doesn't necessarily even have anything to do with the proposed business idea that you have. It's you as an individual. And then and in my case, in the case of our team, none of us knew each other. So we all went as individuals. And so we met each other at this event, and we met lots of people at this event, lots of interesting people, and we came together and formed a team. So that was quite interesting and exciting to create a team, and we're now business partners, and we spend a huge amount of time working together. More than we spend with our families probably, and so we met them through this process, and it was quite interesting. My two partners are based in Portugal, I'm based in the UK, And so it's quite a rewarding experience. And whatever your background, as I said, I didn't have a business background. I learned quite a lot from the different mentors that were there, because they all brought a different perspective. And what tends to happen with all of these, well, at least was my experience, is that you come in my case, as a subject matter expert. Okay, I know medicine, I've done medicine for a long time, but you have to change your ideas to take into account the other things that people bring. And that can be sometimes a bit frustrating because you feel that you're not understood, but actually it's really valuable and it really helps you grow and it gives you an entirely different perspective. So that was a really, really valuable week for me. And then of course we got through to the next round. So that was even more exciting, but it was valuable in itself, I would say. And then what happens next is that you go through this 8 or 10 week process where you present every week on a webinar. Correct me if I'm wrong, Magda, but I assume it'll be the same. And you get feedback, and then you get asked to develop another aspect of your business, maybe the business model, maybe the technical aspect, maybe the IP aspect, whatever it is. And you go away and you research it over the week, and you come back and you clarify. And that's quite an intense period of time, but it is, I guess, compatible with still doing other things that you might be doing in terms of work or whatever. So you can do that part-time. But it is quite intense. But again, it's really valuable because you may have an idea, you may be able to pitch an idea and even get through to the next round, which is what we did in 5 days. But then when you spend these 10 weeks really going into the depth of your idea, you realize that there's actually a lot missing and you're forced to develop it further. And that iteration where you have to change it every week is quite valuable because you move quite quickly. And so then if you get through to this 10-week round and then you have a final, and again you pitch again and you compete with the selection of teams, and then again some of you hopefully will get through and actually get the funding, and others won't. So really, again, the time that you've invested is, I think, valuable in itself, because it really is an education in the way you should think about business. It was for me anyway. And then if you win, well, even better. Then you have quite a lot of potential funding, and it's quite transformative because it suddenly allows you to practice everything you're doing with a lot fewer constraints than you would otherwise have. So all the basic things that you need to do, whether it's recruitment or you can essentially begin to think big, and you to some degree have less of a pressure in terms of trying to raise money, which of course is what you would have to do if you didn't have this support. So that's really helpful. And then there's also ongoing support and mentors and people that you meet through the process and people that you get introduced to after the process that will help develop your business. So it's not just the money, but the money helps. It's not easy. So I think that's really important. I think it's important to go in with the right expectations, and actually whatever expectations you have, it's much harder than that. And it can be extremely frustrating at times. And I think that's part of the journey. And, you need to be able to deal with that. I think that I'm sure people can. And I think that's about it. We're as Jorge mentioned, we're developing an algorithm for clinical decision making, and we sort of there takes a time. When you win the competition, you still need to then go through the setting up of the company, all the sort of corporate stuff that needs to go through, and that takes time. So we've been really working on this for a few months now, and we have a team now. We are working on some algorithms, and we're making really good progress. So it's quite exciting for us. I think we're quite lucky to have gone through the process and quite happy with the outcome. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions and I'll try and answer.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Umar. That's a great testimony for the program. I'm really happy to hear that. On day-to-day basis, we deal with each other on let's say more technical issues and more other problems, but it's always very rewarding for me to hear when when you hear so many good words. Anyway, if you I think now we can open the floor for questions. I can already see some of the questions coming up in the chat. You can also ask questions to Umar. So Ravi is asking how teams are formed and whether they are formed by participants themselves. So basically, yes. What happens in the first days of the hackathon is that we are providing a little bit of team dynamics exercises. You are being guided by coaches, by experts. As Umar said, you are being evaluated, and we put you. We try to put together teams, and I think that those exercises, they also allow participants to get to know other participants a little bit better, how it is to work with this person or how it is to work with the other person. But in the end, the decision is up for the participants themselves. We are opening up the floor, and you are just basically welcome to team up with whomever you like. Okay, does it answer your question, Ravi?
Maybe Umar, you can share how you gathered together, because the three of you didn't know each other before, right?
Yeah, so we worked together in the first I think 2 days of the task, and they try and move you around, so you get to see how everyone else is doing and what their skills are, and also in the evenings it really is, as Magda said, a full-time thing. So you chat to people over lunch, over dinner, so you really it's quite interesting to get to know all these people quite quickly. And then, yeah, we sort of selected each other. We felt that of the people there, that we were the ones that brought together different skill sets and also personalities that connected, and we got along quite well. And it was quite surprising, to be honest, but it was really positive thing to come out of it. I wasn't expecting to be Christina and Elder are really exceptional people, and it's very rare for me in my professional life to meet people that are so very capable. So I'm really impressed and lucky that we've managed to build a team like this. And I don't know if it'll happen again, but I think it's part of it. It's part of the process, and you are effectively bringing. You're aiming to bring the best from Europe together, and so you'll have an opportunity to meet lots of amazing people there.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, Umar.
So the next question is from Soban. Could you describe the option agreement and how that works? So basically, the option agreement is one of the agreements that we sign with the incorporated company at the end of the process and before they embark on the journey. And what we do is that EIT Health decided not to take any equity in the new ventures, but basically sign with the company an option agreement, and in this way participate in potential financial success of the startup. It's not usual to receive equity-free grant of this amount. We did a little bit of a market research here and there, and all we can see is basically that probably taking equity is the most common instrument for incubators and accelerators to participate in the startups. However, we don't want to do it. We don't take control over the startups that we have in the program. However, if they prove to be successful, and by successful we mean that in the option agreement we put a number of events that would trigger this. Let's say the instrument that EIT Health would benefit financially from the success of the startup, and among them is, for example, IPO or major investment. Then EIT Health will ask the startup some money back. only to fill in this money back to the program. So all the money that we are receiving, we would be receiving, or we will be receiving from the startups, will be dedicated to supporting the program and supporting new startups in the future. However, the grant that we are issuing, it's not a VC deal. It's not a, let's say, instrument that you have to pay back. It's let's say different form, the option agreement, and some details of the conditions you can find in the FAQs. There is a section EIT Health participation in the startups, and also in the term sheet agreement. And if you would have any more detailed questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me or to the email wildcard@eithealth.eu, and we'll be able to answer them. Okay. So now there's a question to Umar. Umar, are you full-time involved in the company now, or you guys are setting up in parallel to some other job?
Yeah, full-time. All of us are full-time now, since, as I said, there's a gap between the point that you might be told that you win the competition and the point that you receive the money. So you need to take that into account. And you know, as you progress, it's worth having these conversations early so that it's clear what those deadlines are, because otherwise you end up potentially stopping your jobs too early and having a gap in between. But yeah, once you've received the money, it really, it's not easy to do this part-time. So we're all working full-time. But I think, as I understand it, it is possible for people to work for part-time, or for some people to work part-time. So maybe there's a bit of flexibility in that, and it depends on your circumstances.
Okay, thank you, Umar. So the next question we have from Daniel, basically about the video pitch, whether it should be professionally edited. No, it's basically my suggestion was that you know, some people recorded the video at the desk, and this was fine, and some others, for example, took it outside or to a laboratory when they were showing their work and explaining their motivation. So no professional editing of the video pitch is necessary. However, you can get creative in terms of you know, how you present yourself, because in the end you are trying to sell yourself as a good candidate for the program. And the last question we have so far is from Vlad. About the clinical innovation fellowship, and whether this is more beneficial to do the clinical innovation fellowship first and only after that apply for wildcard. I think that Jorge, you are the best suited to answer this question.
Yes, thank you, Magda. Well, it really depends on what you have already in your hands, right? So if you apply for the Clinical Innovation Fellowship, you will get an opportunity to let's say, see the needs firsthand. You will have a clinical immersion in a clinical setting where you will see patients and physicians, and you will be able to identify those needs, right? Apart from, you know, additional training associated to this, right? The case of the wildcard, you know, it's more around you have certain clarity around either you have a solution that you want to, let's say, start, right? That you want to put into place, that you think that has a good chance to be transformative out there. That's one thing. Or you have a lot of background knowledge and you want to use it not to learn, but to put it into practice. You're looking for something to move forward. So let's say the distance to make an impact is bigger in the Clinical Innovation Fellowship than in the wildcard, both of them are very good programs. I mean, I think we support through our educational pillar all the clinical innovation fellowships in Europe. So both are extremely good programs, but it depends a little bit where you are. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more so I can provide more detailed feedback to you? That was Vlad Mate.
This was Connor, actually.
Oh, sorry.
I try to unmute you if you would like to speak.
This is Connor.
Hi, Connor.
Hi.
Would you like to elaborate a little bit more about why you asked this question and why you are considering between, or whether Jorge answered your question? What is the difference between innovation fellowship and the wildcard program?
Okay, so that question wasn't by me. That was by Vlad.
Yeah, that was Vlad. I was going to say, sorry.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
Vlad, so you
yes.
want to elaborate?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm waiting for you guys to finish. I'm having questions, but so I was asking about the clinical innovation fellowship because I'm getting the sense that if I really understand the method of how you come up with clear unmet needs, you could do this like in a better way and not only start a company, maybe start 5 or 10 or whatever. And not that starting a company should be like the purpose of this. It's actually to solve problems and to do better in healthcare. But if you only have like, so from what you're saying is that if you have like a better technical ready to market solution, you should apply to wildcard. And if you want to like see the process of how you can come up with an unmet need, you should go to the clinical innovation fellowship, right?
Yes, that was my point.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I thought you were, let's say, debating and had something, let's say, else, but that's exactly what you have. So that's correct.
Okay. So now the question from Connor. Sorry, apologies for the confusion. Connor. Yes. So basically, the broad idea for boosting brain health, but you are based in Ireland. So, Connor, I think that the idea for the program is that yes, the teams will eventually relocate. On our website, you will find a list of 15 incubators that committed to hosting the new teams and welcoming them to their facilities or offer other services. So basically, the idea is that yes, the teams form and that they install themselves in one of the incubators that we have in the program. However, the list is not closed. So if there would be an Irish incubator that would like to work with you, we still have UK Ireland CLC that and we have partners in both in Ireland and in the UK. So there are incubators that could join Wildcard program. The list is, as I'm saying, it's open, and we are welcoming any other collaboration. So I wouldn't consider this as a let's say that's an element that you need to consider, of course. But as for example, in case of our of the club track winners, they had to travel all the way to Galway to Ireland to meet people that live like 30 kilometers from them. And as you could see, the team is it's 4 German team members. So in the wildcard, it's not let's say a requirement that this collaboration and that the team has to be cross-border. Let's say we would love to see that, but as it happened in the case of the club track, it was not it was not something that was playing against them. It was just a great team with great idea, and this is what we are looking for.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
We have another question by Andre. I think that's the name. Pronounce it correctly, hopefully.
Yes. Can you clarify on what conditions existing startups are not eligible to apply, please? Can the elements of a recently created startup participate in wildcard and successfully create a new company? So this question is basically for two reasons. I think we are not accepting applications from existing startups. The first reason is basically that we have a full accelerator pillar that is specializing in supporting startups, and the wildcard program is sitting with innovation, and we are looking to fund new things. The second reason is basically that existing startups, they come with very often with IP and kind of financial obligations to their previous investors and all the other let's say commitments that they might bring from the past, and we simply don't have means for doing the due diligence at the stage of the recruitment. So that's why we are concentrating on creating new ventures, and we accept the teams that are working together or individuals, and we form new teams. For all the other opportunities for the startups, there are plenty in the accelerator pillar. Okay.
Good. So it seems that we have answered a lot of questions. Are there any further questions on your side, or we move to the next?
Yes, wondering if it's possible to do the program if IP already is filed. I think that, thank you for this question. I think that if it's filed by you, or you have a means, let's say, for using the IP, then I see nothing against coming with with idea or with already certified, let's say, innovation. The problem is if you are coming with someone else's IP, which is already filed, then probably the answer would be no.
Yes, and that someone else could be like your institution where you develop it. Some institutions are very flexible and they get they support their people even as they leave. Some other research institutions are not, are different. So that, you will need to secure that you can, let's say have freedom to operate with the IP, let's say.
Okay. Are there any other last questions that we can take? If not, then I think that we'll be closing just in time, hour and a half. Okay. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much then for joining. We hope that we'll see a lot of applications from you. If you will have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to wildcard@eithealth.eu or to my personal email. I will be answering all the questions on the go. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much for your time and your question. Looking forward to get your applications. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.